Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at another P Bandai kit. You can tell from that big ol' red monochrome box. And this, of course, is the absolutely awesome looking Gundam Astray red frame, this time with a flight unit. I'll also mention that the flight unit is available separately in case you just want to grab that for your red frame or your red frame Kai. And as usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those fantastic people over at Bai. Anytime I'm looking for a rare, premium Bandai or exclusive kit of some description, I always find it on there. And you can too. Link down there in the description. And let's get right into it. So jumping right on into that overview, and there is that red frame with absolutely everything that it comes with, and this box is packing quite an amount. First, of course, back there is the Gundam Astray red frame itself. This is the standard version, not the Kai. We've also got the standard red frames equipment, so this is what would have came with that P Bandai Astray red frame that came in this box you're seeing right now, which of course is a pair of beam sabers, beam rifle, shield, the Gerber Astray over here. I will mention that the Tiger Pierce also comes included on the runners, so that is a pretty cool extra. But yeah, no scabbard. And as for what that of course is the flight unit back here, which is fantastic I might add, as well as one of the most unique accessories ever, a Baku head. As for stickers and decals, the foil stickers aren't really all that bad. They're mainly just those shiny ones for on lenses, etc. Not so much color correcting besides those red ones. And of course, putting the premium in Premium Bandai is this set of water slide decals. I have used a couple of these. They're also very, very nice, I might add. These I really like. So yeah, I did use a couple of these on the red frame, and speaking of that red frame, let's check it out. So anyway, there's the master grade red frame, not Kai, out of the box, just snapped together with a little bit of extra effort, and I mean a little bit. I used a standard black fine liner panel lining pen just to panel line the face and some of the shoulders just to bring out some of that detail. And as for the water slide decals, I did want to try these out because I thought they looked pretty cool, so I used a couple on the shoulders and on the legs just to see what they look like. This one up here on the shoulder, this one is quite unique. I've never seen something like this before. The instructions tell you to overlay one decal over another, and that's a cool concept I never thought of doing before. Even when instructions don't tell you, overlaying decals is a cool idea. I've got to try that more in future. As usual, I did use some Mark Softer just to blend them onto the surface a little better. They all look very, very nice. And what can I say? The Gundam Astray red frame is one beautiful mobile suit. No wonder it is so popular. But you might be wondering, well, what makes this so different to the standard release master grade that is available of this, which is the red frame Kai? And to answer that, not a whole lot, really. So that is the Kai right there. This is the one we're looking at today, which is the standard red frame, and in general they are exactly the same. So I will mention right away that this one has been on my shelf for a year, maybe a little bit more. So I'm not sure if the difference in color, which may not show up on camera, is to do with the fact that this is a little bit more premium, or just because this has been out for a while. The color of red on this guy here is a little bit more subdued, a little bit more, I wouldn't say faded, just not as rich as it is on this one. Again, this could be anything, even just down to when they poured the plastic. The same goes for the gray around the waist there. It's a little lighter on the older guy here. This is the Kai, and a little richer once again on this one over here. Again, this just could be from being up on the shelf, or maybe the plastic is a little different. Besides that though, identical. When we bring them around to the back, once again, exactly the same unless I'm missing something. And the only real difference on the actual mobile suit itself is this one has a backpack attached to that unique little peg. The other one, which is the Kai, does not. And it's also at this point I'll mention that, let's get this guy spinning while I talk, by the way. But yeah, this I think is either my 6th or 7th Astray I've built at this point. That would be the red frame Kai, the blue frame, the Noir, the Sengoku Astray, the Red Dragon, and I think there might be another one in there somewhere, but I'm not sure. But I've forgotten, and it's kind of cool at the same time that when you build a kit, then spend some time away from it on other kits, then build a kit again, spend some time away from it, and build it again, you realize how samey or how different that particular kit is. And this right here, I have to say, is one of the most unique builds around. I hate it. I absolutely hate building this thing. It's just so odd. But at the same time, it works so well. I love the finished kit. So it's a really odd sort of thing. Building it, not so much fun. It takes a long, long time for what you get out of it, but the finished product, I adore. There's some weird aspects to it. There's these pegs that go through the leg, that hold the joints together, which are made out of a not polycap but semi-polycap feeling material. And I'll also mention that that red frame looks all the one color, but this is actually a mishmash of different plastics, each one doing a different technical thing, I guess. There's ABS for that grip, polycap for the joints, and then standard, what I assume is polystyrene plastic for the rest of that red frame. It all melds together perfectly, and I can see why Bandai keeps making this kit, and I can see why people keep buying it. It's extremely unique. The only letdown about this kit really is those hands. Besides that though, this is unlike any other gunpla out there, and I both love it and hate it for that. So as for some size comparisons, there it is side by side with the Premium Bandai Master Grade Testament Gundam, the Master Grade Blue Frame D, this is a full release, and the Master Grade Strike Gundam version remaster. And the reason I'm popping this guy right here is just to make one quick point, and that is something I will get back to later, and it's very, very sad that the backpack on this kit and the backpack on this kit do not feature the same Striker Pack compatibility. I know what this comes with technically isn't a Striker Pack, but I have to say, definitely disappointed there isn't some kind of adapter. But anyway, speaking of those accessories that it comes with, once again, back to the start, to everything this came with. So let's take a look at everything in here, one at a time, starting with what came with the standard version of the red frame. So first up, there are no alternate hands or fingers in this kit. These are those old style 3 fingers attached together down here. Those all feature their own individual ball joints, so they can be cut apart and made individual quite easy. We've got a trigger finger and then a thumb, and everything is on ball joints. Grip, however, with these things is not guaranteed. So next up in here, we're going to be taking a look at the beam sabers, and there are 2 of these in here. These blow my mind. They've got this squared out handle with a bit of a trigger that is somewhat reminiscent of a katana handle, which I guess is fitting. The blade is actually quite vigorous, especially down towards the end, emitting from the beam saber handle, which is cool. These attach in the standard way that they do with these kind of hands, that is, they attach onto that peg, it's the peg that holds them, and the fingers just kind of wrap around it just to look like they're holding it. It's the peg doing all of the work. What can I say though, these are a nice refreshing change of pace, these beam sabers. Square handles, broad vigorous beams, I am totally on board with these, love them. When these are not in use, they're stored the usual way. You just pop off those beams, turn it around, stick the handles onto the inner section of the backpack like so, and once again, these do look great. We have a bit of articulation going on in here, so these can move out and in for whatever kind of reaching back kind of pose that you want to pull off. Next up in here then, we've got the beam rifle. This is quite nice, very detailed, all in the one shade of plastic besides a clear green section in there for the lens. And I will mention that the plastic on this, as well as the knob placement, does mean you need to be a little bit careful while cutting this out, or you'll get some very noticeable knobs on here. I suppose at this point I might as well mention that a lot of the actual kit itself is undergated. I assume they wanted to or did make a gold-plated version for the gold frame, so you won't see many knobs on this at all, even though some of the tech is a little bit dated at this point. But as for some of the newer stuff like this right here, they didn't put as much effort into the hiding of the nubs, so once again, be a little bit careful while cutting this guy out. As for moving parts, we've got a side-to-side swinging handle up front. Just like the beam sabers, this attaches onto the peg like so. I unintentionally gave it to it left-handed, no problem. There's a quick look at what it looks like attached. I will mention once again that this style of peg is prone to dropping the weapons it's holding, but at least this time around, it's not trying to hold onto something like this. So these kind of pegs are very suited to smaller weapons like this, so this shouldn't give you too much trouble. I just realized its side skirt has been missing the whole review attached onto the scabbard of the Gundam Astray. But anywho, before I get onto that, we do have a moving segment here, which pops out this little peg, so that when this beam rifle is not in use, it can be stored right here on the butt flap like so. Okay, about time I actually put this back on. There we go. So next up in here is the Tiger Pierce. We've seen these swords over and over again with these different individual red frames. These are absolutely awesome, chrome plated. There is a couple of knobs on the blade from where you have to cut it out, sadly, but still looking awesome. The scabbard attaches onto this notoriously loose side skirt. Actually, you're better off taking the side skirt off, in which this attaches on like so. Oh, man, seriously, why didn't they just include some pre-posed hands in here as well? That would make life a whole lot easier, but either way. But anyway, there it is attached, and it's hard to deny just how cool the concept is of a giant robot with a 15-meter or so long katana is. That is pretty cool. Also, once again, I will mention that we do get a spare in here. This technically says on the blade that it is the Tiger Pierce right there, or should I say right there. But it is good to have a spare because these are quite easy to break because whatever plastic Bandai uses to chrome plate is quite breakable. Very brittle. So the next thing that comes in here then is the shield, once again in matching colors to the actual mobile suit itself. There is a bit of a look at what is going around on the back, so some usual shield goings on. And this does attach in the usual way, which is peg into hole on the back of the arm. Bit of articulation then to bring it forward. And there we go. There's this kit loaded up, just as the standard Gundam Astray red frame, no flight unit. And I have to say, no matter how many iterations of this particular mobile suit I build, the Gundam Astray red frame is so iconic, so awesome looking, you can really see why this kit has such a mass appeal. Now onto that flight unit. So now moving on to the rest of the accessories, and these are what set the older premium Bandai Astray red frame, not Kai, from this one right here. And I just noticed that I looked on the premium Bandai website, and this itself is all that comes in the flight unit pack. You do not actually get the Baku head, that is exclusive to this box, so let's check them all out. So first up, we're going to be taking a look at the flight unit itself. There is the full 360 spin, and this I adore. This is kind of like, well, the Ale Striker pack, but more robust, bigger, and just feels meatier. I'll also mention that the vast majority of this is exactly the same as what we saw with the backpack on the Astray Red Dragon, besides the two wings on the sides. Otherwise, pretty much the same. The detailing on this is great. It's in white, black, and red. We've got a little bit of grey round back on this additional, what I think is a thruster section. And I'll also mention that the black on this is a fantastic matte black, and it looks great. As for the moving parts we have on this, up top we've got this little flap section that moves up and down. This is covering a little peg section that is where the cattle wolves, or whatever they were called, attached with the Astray Red Dragon. These two red sections here, these can move in and out like so, rotating in here. The upper section up here, this has two joints, one that moves it back like so, one then that allows it to move forward, so this has a lot of motion to it. When you push it all the way down, there is a bit of a locking mechanism that holds the upper section in place, so that you've only really got the 1 point of tilt up there. The individual wings are rocking rotation there, rotation right here, and they can move back out of the way entirely. So if you're thinking of storage, or when it's not in use, they can move back like so out of the way, or you could rotate them down like so out of the way. So a lot of nice options. Next up, we have a sliding mechanism between the central part and the bottom part like so. And these bottom engine segments can rotate on this spot right here. As for how this attaches onto an action base, you get this little included cradle type base adapter. Works perfect. However, I have to say the most disappointing aspect about this is this particular backpack adapter. It's just a square, so this is not the standard striker pack attachment point we see with most seed kits. In comparison, the blue frame D right here, this had a backpack extension section, which allowed for the backpack to use the actual flat striker pack adapter, so you can use it with other seed kits. So the backpack it had was basically adapter, so that a slot to that square connection point. So of course, you could use this flight unit with the blue frame right here, but I was hoping you'd get something like this, just the reverse way round. So you could use the flight unit back here with stuff like strike and whatnot. Not the biggest deal, but a little bit disappointing. I'll also mention that this backpack right here was exactly the same on the Astray Noir. Also, while it's on my mind, one of you guys, Gavin Bagus, asked me if this can be used with the red frame Kai, and it can, but there is one minor issue that might bother you. So, bringing us back to the beginning of the review when I compared the red frame Kai, which is this one, to the red frame, which is this one, the only physical difference between the two is the backpack back there. So, in order to use the flight unit with the red frame, you need to pull this out and just drop it down behind the red frame's butt like that to expose its hole. The red frame Kai here is the exact same thing, so the only thing it will be missing when you drop this thing down is the backpack on the butt. But otherwise, it can be used with the Kai, just like this right here. And there is a bit of an example of what it will look like. Pretty much the same, just that little bit sticking down just behind the butt. But yeah, attaching this onto the red frame is exactly the same, except you do have that little backpack down there to deal with sometimes. You may have to just take that into consideration when setting up the action base, but besides that, this is probably the most robust seed-style backpack I've ever seen. It is solid as a rock. If you've played around with some of the other ones quite a bit, like for example the Ale Striker pack off the remaster, or the kind of similar one we saw on the Blue Frame D, those can be, well, prone to falling apart at times. This isn't. This is a brick. This is awesome. This is solid. So the last thing we've got in here is the Baku head, and this is 100% exclusive to this particular kit. And I'll also mention, it's not particularly good. Honestly, I was really looking forward to this, so I am a little bit, well, personally disappointed. Because honestly, this thing is high-grade quality at best, that is all. The amount of stickers you need to put on this, the one for on the main lens on the front, barely fits. And honestly, I thought the idea of a Baku head used as a weapon would be a really cool accessory, but this is a massive letdown. Get your paints out, because these stickers blow. And basically, to sum it up, this feels like it was just taken, copy-pasted from a 1/100 no grade. But hey, the concept is awesome, so let's get those beams in there. These are just generic, standard, old school pink beams. There they are attached. To attach this then to the red frame, you just need to reach on in and pull out that handle. This then attaches into the hand the usual way. And because this peg isn't the strongest to hold on, this is only going to hold on with a bit of a wish and a prayer, so here we go. Well, failure to get that to line up. Failed again. Oh, that felt promising. There we go. So anyway, there is an example of what that Baku head looks like attached, and in concept, this is an absolutely cool idea. I love this. I would kill, absolutely kill, for a full Master Grade Baku, because who can deny? Gundam Dog, pretty awesome. But again, it's hard not to be disappointed by the quality of this particular accessory right here. This is unique to this kit, probably one of the biggest selling points besides not having a Master Grade red frame for using the backpack with. But its heavy reliance on stickers just makes it feel not very Master Grade quality. Again, cool little extra, just not the same quality as the rest of the kit, and not the same quality as that awesome, ridiculously impressive flight unit. As this kit has been around for a long time and I've seen multiple different iterations of the Master Grade Astray on this channel, I'm not going to go through all of the articulation on this kit. If you want to see more on the articulation, check out the Master Grade Red Dragon review. And all I can say is for an 11-year-old kit, it has very impressive articulation, could have a little bit more at the torso. The hands could definitely be a little bit better, but on the whole, it's definitely impressive and looks mesmerizingly beautiful. But anyway, that right there is it for the review, and just like with the Astray Red Dragon, this to me is gold tier. So if you were to ask me which of these kits are the 3 red frames that I was talking about, the Kai, the Red Dragon, and this one, which should you go for? But the easy way to kind of sum that up is, the Kai is the cheapest and easiest to get. If you just want a red frame and you love that big sword, go for that one. The Red Dragon is the most over-the-top version with loads of cool weapons all over the place, but they can get a little bit finicky if you don't like too much stuff. However, this one right here, this one just feels so simple and elegant. The new backpack is fantastic, all of the weapons are easy to manage in those somewhat weak hands, and all I can say is I highly recommend each of them, but this one might just be my favorite. But I'm prone to say that every single time. Anyway, if you do want one of your own, there's a link down there in the description. You can get yours through Buy. As always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time.